The morning I found Daisy collapsed on my kitchen floor, my world shattered. My Tabby, my emotional support cat, was a whirlwind of energy every dawn, batting at her toy mouse or purring as I poured her kibble. But now she lay limp, her golden eyes half closed, her chest jerking with shallow, ragged breaths. A slick puddle of vomit stained the tiles, its sour stench clawing at my throat. My hands shook as I knelt, scooping her fragile body into my arms. She felt like a rag doll, her warmth fading. "Daisy, hold on," I whispered, my voice cracking. I grabbed my keys and sprinted to the car, the 10-minute drive to the vet an eternity of dread. Daisy's wheezes haunted the silence, each one slicing deeper into my chest. My PTSD, a shadow I'd fought for years, surged flashes of panic, my heart pounding like a war drum. Daisy was my lifeline, her gentle presence the only thing that kept the nightmares at bay. At the clinic, the vet's face tightened as she whisked Daisy through swinging doors, Leah VYing me in a waiting room that reeked of antiseptic and fear. I paced, my sneakers squeaking on the linoleum, my mind spiraling. How? She'd been fine at breakfast, chasing a sunbeam in the backyard. When a vet returned, her words landed like a blow. "Daisy's been poisoned hydrodenicide, a heavy dose." My stomach lurched. "Do you use chemicals?" "Antifreeze," she pressed. "Never," I choked out, nausea rising. "Daisy's everything to me." The vet's eyes softened, but her next question sparked a memory. "Anyone who might want to hurt her?" Susan Harper's face flashed in my Mind the Willow Grove HOA president, her cold stares and relentless complaints a dark cloud over my 6 months here. With trembling hands, I opened my security camera app, installed just days ago after weeks of unease. Rewinding to dawn, I froze. There was Susan, her silhouette unmistakable, leaning over my fence, sprinkling powder into Daisy's outdoor bowl. A smug, venomous smirk curled her lips as she dusted her hands and strutted away. My blood turned to frost. "Call the police," the vet urged, her voice sharp after seeing the footage. "This is deliberate cruelty." I nodded, my rage a wildfire, but beneath it, grief churned. 6 months ago, I'd fled the city for Willow Grove, a pristine suburb of manicured lawns and white picket fences, seeking peace after my doctor prescribed an emotional support animal. Daisy, a shy 2-year-old rescue with a patchwork coat, became my anchor. Her soft purrs grounded me when anxiety clawed at my lungs, her warmth a shield against the flashbacks that left me trembling. Willow Grove seemed perfecta quiet street, a fenced backyard where Daisy could bask under my watchful eye. But perfection cracked the day Susan Harper knocked. Her highlighted hair gleamed, her clipboard a weapon, as she declared my mailbox one shade too teal and demanded a repaint. I complied, brushing off her pinched smile, desperate to avoid trouble. But Susan's gaze lingered, her eyes narrowing whenever Daisy lounged on the patio. "Pets belong indoors," she'd snapped one afternoon, spotting Daisy sunning herself. Her voice dripped with disdain, her heels clicking on the sidewalk. I explained Daisy's role, showed my doctor's letter, pointed to the 6-foot fence. Susan's lips thinned, her manicured nails tapping her clipboard. "Keep that cat from being a nuisance," she hissed, storming off. I thought it was over, but Susan's obsession grew. She'd linger outside my house, jotting notes, her gaze flicking to Daisy. Neighbors whispered she'd find others for minor infractions, wrong colored blinds, a lawnmower left out. At a community picnic, she'd cornered me, her perfume cloying, and said, "Animals don't belong on pedestals." Her words stung, but worse was her campaign. She'd rallied a few HOA loyalists, spreading murmurs that my cat obsession lowered property values. Notes began appearing on my door, HOA warnings about pest cats, VY Cybele animal waste. All nonsense. Daisy used an indoor litter box, and I scooped any outdoor traces instantly. Then came the eerie signs. A week before, I'd found Daisy's water dish overturned, granules glinting in the grass like sinister confetti. My gut twisted. I bagged a sample, ordered cameras, and hid them along the fence, their lenses trained on Daisy's feeding spot. I never imagined they'd capture Susan's betrayal. That morning, Daisy had eaten in the yard while I dressed for work, her tail flicking happily. She'd seemed fine, curled in her sunny patch when I left. But at lunch, I found her convulsing, vomit pooling around her. The vet's diagnosis, lethal rodenticide, crushed me. As Daisy clung to life on IVs, I rewatched the footage. Susan, sneaking to my fence after I'd left, poured poison from a Ziploc, stirred it with a flick of her polished nails, and sauntered off, her smugness a blade to my heart. I called the police, my hands shaking with fury. Officer Daniels arrived, his jaw tight as he studied the video. "This is felony cruelty," he said, bagging the granule sample. He asked about Susan, her complaints, her power trips. I spilled everything. Her mailbox fixation, her cat vendetta, the neighbors she'd intimidated. When police confronted Susan, she laughed, her voice dripping with scorn. "That video's fake AI nonsense," she told Daniels, claiming I'd poisoned Daisy to frame her. She even suggested I craved sympathy, flouting HOA rules to play VY Tim. Her gall left me speechless, but EVY Denke spoke louder. A search of her pristine shed revealed the same rodenticide, its box half empty, and a receipt bought it the day before, despite no rat issues at her home. Her lies collapsed like a house of cards. 5 days later, I stood on my porch, heart pounding, as officers marched to Susan's colonial-style mansion. Neighbors clustered on lawns, their whispers a hum as Susan emerged, hair disheveled, wrists cuffed. "I'm the HOA president," she shrieked, her voice cracking. "This is outrageous." Faces peered from windows, some shocked, others grimly satisfied. Daisy served VY Ved, but 3 days in intensive care left her frail, her kidneys scarred. The vet warned of lifelong monitoring, a reminder of Susan's cruelty. Word of her arrest spread like wildfire. Neighbors I'd barely met brought toys, treats, and stories of Susan's tyranny, fines for kids' chalk drawings, threats over untrimmed hedges. One woman, eyes teary, admitted she'd stayed silent after Susan targeted her dog's barking. My ordeal had shattered Susan's grip, unleashing a flood of confessions. The DA charged Susan with felony animal cruelty, trespassing, and property tampering. Her hearing was a spectacle. Gone was the polished tyrant. She looked small, her face bare, in a gray jumpsuit. Neighbors testified, their voices steady, detailing her petty vendettas. A toxicologist confirmed the rodenticide match. Susan's lawyer tried a desperate pivot, claiming she'd meant only to scare Daisy, not kill her. The judge wasn't swayed, denying low bail for her calculated malice. The trial, 3 months later, was electric. Susan took the stand, her voice quivering, spinning tales of my defiance and her duty to protect Willow Grove's standards. But the footage played on a courtroom screen, her smirk undeniable silenced her. The jury deliberated for hours, the tension suffocating. When they returned, the verdict hit: 18 months in prison, 2 years probation, Dulaw $5,000 for Daisy's bills, and a permanent ban from HOA rolls. Susan sobbed, "This destroys me." Her plea for mercy echoed in a room devoid of sympathy. Willow Grove changed. Neighbors smiled more, shared coffee, reclaimed their voices. Daisy's Sir VY Val felt like a quiet VY Tory, though her fragile health lingered as a scar. Susan's fall exposed the rod of unchecked power, but the cost haunted me. What would you do if someone poisoned your pet? Should HOAs be stripped of their control over personal lives? Was Susan's punishment justice or too soft for her cruelty? Could you forgive someone who crossed that line? Share your thoughts, like, and subscribe for more real-life drama.